Yes. So what that means is that we have like a lot of experience that if we decide tomorrow we want to do business, you already know what to do. So like scavenging around looking for what else to do. So we all know like London is the financial capital of the world. So my financial bro, you can like always like go back to what you want to do and start looking for small businesses that you can be even like a freelance bookkeeper and stuff like that, manage your accounts and stuff like that. So I pray that as we go through this, God will, just bring us back to where we started. In Jesus' name. Amen. So let your light shine. So I'll be talking about this in the context of SEO because that's what I do. So I have a business called Fen Digital, and we do SEO mainly for private practice. The reason is because when I came to this country, 2021. One of the first job I got was, in fact, one of the first job I got was to work in BIFA. I don't know who knows BIFA here. You know BIFA? BIFA is the company that they do the waste collection thing. So I went with a friend to go do that job one night, and I could only do that job just that one night. It was like we were sorting the bins. So you sort the different bins and stuff. So I could only do that job one night, and I felt so frustrated. Like, I'm like, I don't think I have the energy for this because it was a 6 to 6 shift, and you were sorting like you have like conveyor belts going around, and you were going to be sorting the recyclable ones, the food waste, and non-recyclable ones. You would be doing that throughout the 12-hour shift. So I did that shift just one night, and I just felt like this was not making sense at all. And I was speaking to Daria. I don't think Daria knew about this because I didn't tell him. But I was just speaking to him like, what kind of job can I do? And he was like, can I not pull my experience together? And really, and that was what I did. I pulled my experience together because I've never really actually applied for a job back in Nigeria. Like, say I want to work for people. When I wanted to work for next year, that was just my first time. I didn't get it. So when it comes to like applying for a job, that's not like my strength. I don't really know how to like present my experience in a way that like makes someone feel like, wow, let's employ this guy. But I had to do that. I put together my CV and I started applying for job on Indeed. And one of my first job I got was with a private practice. He's a psychiatrist, basically. He interviewed me that same day, and he said he's going to give me the job on the same interview. Yeah. But I didn't really talk about like typical thing you will like prepare for interview. It was just what I've done. And that was because I used to run a blog back in Nigeria. I used to run a blog teaching people how to use PayPal because I used to work on Fiverr. So one of the problems I had was payment processing. Like I had to like send my money to somebody else and they have to pay me my money and then they have to take some cut. So when I started learning about PayPal, I wrote about it on a blog using experience of SEO. And that gave me so much what I would call like serendipity. Like people were coming from the blog, contacting me, and I was getting to know about some other businesses from there just because of that free information. So that was basically what I took Dr. J, and he hired me on the spot. And that was supposed to be a 20 hours job because I was a student. But that same week, I got another job with the security company in Rugby, and that was also still marketing. And they also wanted me to work part-time, obviously because of the visa. And I was working with those two companies at the time. At some point, I was using that company to collect my money from Dr. J, because I couldn't do that on my account. So, and when it comes to this out of session, when I could work more hours, I work with both of them simultaneously. And when I wanted to do my IT, the one in Rugby said if they have to employ me full time, I have to relocate to Rugby. And that was what I did. I relocated from Middlesbrough to Rugby to go work with them full time. And then I worked with them for a year, for 2 years. What I was doing for them was just SEO. I was writing about their competitors because their major competitors at the time were NatWest Bank. So because NatWest Bank, they were no longer using, in fact, most of the high streets, they stopped using safety deposit boxes. It used to be like a complimentary service from banks to like their customers. So they stopped using it. So this mic is turned off. So I was mostly writing about their competitors. And that was how I was getting them business using SEO. I was writing about NatWest safety deposit boxes, Barclays safety deposit boxes. Hello. Oh, okay. Yeah, so those were the things I was writing about. What I'm just doing, I'm just giving you a context what SEO is all about. So SEO is about like a search engine optimization. And how does this relate to light? As Christians, like we all know what light is. We know the scripture where Jesus was talking about, being the salt of the earth and stuff like that. The light should not be hidden. If you put a light in a dark room, it's going to be shone off. And that is the same thing that SEO is, I'm going to say, because I used to run Facebook ads, but in this country, I've discovered that organic marketing is one of the most effective way to sell your service. And that's because of how this country is structured. People prefer experience. People prefer someone who is down to earth with the service they're offering, as opposed to just coming on Facebook and say, I've got this yacht and this and this and that. Like personality kind of marketing. It's not what that sells in this country. So organic marketing sells a lot. And if you are thinking of going to business anytime soon, I think this is really going to help you so much. And the subtitle here says, "Don't let your business become the best kept secret." I got this particular subtitle when I was making the slide, because it brought memories of like being a Nigerian. And you know that one of the best kept secret are like one of the best businesses. I'm going to show us this. So if you look at this, I think this is something most of us can relate to. Like where probably your mom talking to someone who had like this really nice jollof rice, but they're not telling us the recipe, like the right recipe they used for it. And you just hear vague things like that. And that's because it's a lot of value that they're getting from that they don't really want to share, or they feel like they're going to miss out. If they share it to you, you're not going to there's nothing that will bring you to the house again. So that means you can cook the kind of food I can give for you. So you don't want your business to be the best kept secret. What that means is like you've got your experience, which you can sell. Is very good. And you probably have one person that knows you're also very good. But then that person just wants to keep you because he knows you're very good and he wants you to keep servicing him. So you know you're good, but you also want other people to know that you are good. So you don't want to be a secret for somebody. So that was one of the ideas that came. Let's look at this video. He's not capturing the audio.
You know how we do it.
I'll play it again. So, I know.
Sister, tell me the truth. What did you put in this jollof? It is too sweet. Nothing much. It's just the grace of God. You know how we do it.
Now, you can see that like that's something we can also like relate to. Like people have some kind of secret. Like they know the best. I don't want to bring this, but in some places there are people that know the best babalawo that can solve like really good problems for them, you know. But it's based on referral. And you know, and if you even ask yourself, why are those babalawos very poor? You know, because their service are not scalable. They are all based on referrals. You know, so their services are all based on referrals. So there's no way to scale their service. And that's because the people that have those service, most of them don't share it because that's their secret. And that's because the babalawo is so good. So for you, like you can be so good with your service, what you know you can deliver, but you're just giving it to just a bit of people who don't want you to, who want you to still keep giving them because you know that, I don't know, but if they're scared or something and you get to a certain level, you won't be able to keep giving them or something. I don't know, but that's just what happens. And one thing I want you to get out today is don't let your business, don't let your ideas be one of the best kept secret. Now, if we look at Indomie, and I also think this is something we can relate with as well as Nigerians or as Cameroonians. You know, I don't know if do you eat a lot of Indomie in Cameroon? Do you have Indomie in Cameroon? It's a noodle. It's just a. You do, right? It's not from Nigeria, actually. So you see the thing, like when Indomie came into Nigeria, it wasn't just about how delicious Indomie was. It was, of course, Indomie was delicious, but it was the fact that our mothers who were buried in the kitchen, like when visitors come, they just spend like 5 hours cooking and stuff like that. They discovered that we can actually like use this. In 15 minutes, food was ready. You know, everybody's chill and happy. Everybody's happy and going about their day and stuff like that. Indomie was a secret that if people had it, they would have kept it. But no, one thing you can find is that almost every shop you walk to in Nigeria have Indomie. So like in Nigeria, we don't have big shops. Sorry, I'm using a lot of Nigeria because that's the experience I have. So we don't have big shops. Of course, we have big shops coming in now, but like the kiosks. So it's really hard to distribute to them. But one thing Indomie got right is that every shop had it. So if I came to your house and you just prepare me this nice noodle, and I'm asking you, how did you get this stuff done? You're not going to tell me it's grace of God because I know it's Indomie. And I know where to get it. I don't know if someone is getting something here. Yeah, so I know where to get it. Yeah, so that was one thing Indomie company did in Nigeria. And how to become the trusted business people find first. You already know what you have, the ideas you have. But how do you actually become the one people find first? You already know you're trusted. You know your ideas. You know what you can solve. But how do you make people, your ideal clients, find you first? And I'm using Indomie as a picture because Indomie did that perfectly in Nigeria. You don't need anybody to take you to buy it. You just go to the shop and you get it. And in SEO, generally, this is something that if you do today, you get your results in a month's time. This is not there's nothing vague about this. If you go on Google today and you have a location just like this church now, if you register this church on Google today, tomorrow, if you're around there and you're looking for church, you're going to see this church in that location because you have like close proximity to it and because it's registered. And this is one way to become a business that people can find. A trusted business that people can find first, your location. And then the question you have to like ask yourself, can people actually find you when they're searching? So I know that some of us here are not ready to launch our business yet, but have you actually thought of what if someone just contacts me and say like, can you please manage my books because I've not got time. It's 1 month already after HMRC accounts. And some people are already out there counting their time, and they've got these messy books everywhere. And how do you think they're actually finding people who manage their books? We know there are a lot of apps, but I'm telling you that people prefer to work with people, even for things that apps can do for them. So one of the things you can do is to actually register your business on a location. So like this church is now, we need to register this church on this location, so that when people are checking for like the best church in Birmingham, they can see the Transforming Church as an option. I was actually checking it and I saw a couple of options, but again, that'll get me to my subsequent points. And your location is really important to getting found because that's just how Google works. It works based on referral as well, just like the Babalawo example we do. But this one is a scalable referral. So it's a scalable referral in the sense that this is a system that is already built, that when someone is searching for a particular thing, it's going to refer something to that person. And Google does not need to know you, like know you as a body or like a friend or something. But because you're already there, it's going to refer you. So these screenshots are like just some of the things that so if you search for private gynae, is there anybody that's like a nursing mother here? You're a nursing mother, because private gynecology, yeah. So if you're a nursing mother who is you're a very active person, but you become pregnant, and then you're not sure if you should still continue being active at the gym and stuff like that. And you search for a private gynecology in Windsor. Can someone just check it and let's just do some practical thing now? Because these particular clients, those are like our own market. So so if you would ever need a gynecology service, say you're close to Windsor and you check for private gynecology in Windsor, can you tell me what you see? Just let's just have some practical session. And don't be shy about it. It might not be her. So just just tell me what you see. Private gynecology gist in Windsor. Oh, you're seeing it.
Places.
You've seen places, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. What are you saying?
Same places.
Yeah.
Fertility, Princess Margaret Hospital.
Okay.
Windsor is okay.
Yeah, Windsor. Scroll up, let me see. Private gynecologist in Windsor. What are you saying? You seen what?
There's Vista Health Slot.
Good.
And there's the Princess.
Good.
Princess Margaret Hospital. There's
Yeah.
also Windsor Gynecology.
Yeah. What are you saying, Yami?
Holy Spirit Gynecology.
Yeah.
In London.
Yeah.
Lamia.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, really? So what I've just seen is that there's like people having different results, but we can see one thing that's common there is Dr. Lamia. So that person is a clinician who just started a clinic 3 months ago. Yeah. And if you check for private psychiatric Lincoln, you're going to see similar thing, but that one is much more dominated because it started for much longer than that. So no, that's one of the power of that particular stuff. So if you optimize it, if you register it in a particular location, and you have a clear idea of your market, and you go for it, you're going to get found for it. So, and one of the things you have to do is to make sure you are one of the top 3, because the top 3, they take 70% of that entire market. So if you're not part of the top 3, you're just part of nowhere, really. So, so this is actually an acronym light. I'm just going to rush through it now. So the second thing is identity. Now, identity in this case has to do with your category. So if you are doing a business, you need to be sure what's the general category I actually fall in. You get? Category in sense of Google is not the lexicon that you might think of. Because I discovered this because I'm working with a respiratory physician. In the UK, they call it respiratory physician. In the US, it's called pulmonologist. But Google is a US company, and that's what they recognize. So if you want to be ranked for respiratory issues, you have to make sure you're listed as a pulmonologist and not a respiratory physician. Because when people search on Google, Google is going to refer clinics who are respiratory physicians. So you have to really understand your identity. So what category is your business? And you can do that. You can go on Google. I'm a kingdom-minded transformational visionary strategist helping purpose-driven leaders unlock scalable excellence. Yeah, so this is just a video I thought we'll find relatable as well. So your category shouldn't just be what you think or what you do. You need to go on Google and go to their directory and find which of the category do I actually belong to, and that's the one you need to be registered onto, and that should be like your frame of comparison, really. So you need to be looking at, am I actually the first pulmonologist in Birmingham? Am I actually the first Pentecostal church in Birmingham? Am I actually the first financial analyst in your city? So that's what you need to start looking at for. And you can actually just go on ChatGPT and ask what's the best GBP category for my business. The GBP is Google Business Profile for my business, and it's going to tell you. Just tell it about your business. And then the G of the light is actually good reputation, and this is actually one of the strongest part of it that actually determines your ranking, and that's the reviews. So how many people are actually providing reviews for your service? And one thing I've also discovered recently is you don't necessarily only need to get reviews from your customers. If you've provided value to somebody, just as I'm doing now, I can actually ask for a review from you and say, what do you think of my presentation? Does it give you an idea of what SEO is based off 2 hours from now? And are you actually equipped with an idea that you can actually, you know what to do with your business when you want to start. You know where to register it. You know that you have to look for the right category, and and you know you have to go to the right location. Really. So you need to be asking people for reviews. And if you previously does not know where to gather your review, you should know now that you should start collecting Google reviews. Because ChatGPT, all the LLMs you want to think about, they all look at index result from Google. So whatever has been indexed about you, which Google is 90% of the world search engine, whatever has been indexed about you is what those LLMs actually refer to clients. So you need to start getting your Google reviews. And I just got this QR code, and if anyone feels like they've had an understanding of what SEO means, if you want to start your business tomorrow, do you actually know what to do in terms of letting people find you? I want to get a response, please. Yeah, So if you do that, you can just scan the review and just say how you feel, really, in there. And just leave it for one moment. Yeah. Yeah, so basically you should start asking people for reviews. You should start asking for Google reviews specifically. Because it does a lot of good, you know. And I think somebody else is trying to scan it. Okay. I'm just trying to rush through it. I can share the slide actually. Yeah. And so you can, if you register your business on Google, there is an option to download the QR code. So you download the QR code, and you can basically just make a business card with a QR code and share to give to people to provide you reviews after you give them service, basically. And then the age of the light is helpfulness. Are you actually helping people before they pay you? Because this is really, really important. Because there are some of my clients that sometimes I go on a call with them and my wife will be like, this is not what this person is paying for. I'm like, I'm just trying to like help as much as possible, because once someone becomes your client, the more reason they stay, it's not just because of how good your service, it's how much dependent they get to be on you in terms of other services that attach to your business. So the more dependent they become on you, the more lifetime value you get from them. So whether you've not got a business at the moment, you can start providing helpful things to people you think they can be your clients. You know, and this is really all marketing is all about. Marketing is all about giving free value, because after then that people that convert into sales, once people can trust you, once they know you and they can trust you, before you start talking about sales, really. So that's all marketing is all about. Start providing free value to people. And these are like one of the three things you should be writing about. You should be looking at problems people in your market, like your ideal clients, the problems they struggle with, the top problems. You should be writing about that. You should be writing about how your service helped them solve that problem. Yeah, you should be writing about how your service actually helped them solve that problem. And then you should also be talking about which of the products that you have. So you can actually have a product different from your service. And if for someone that cannot afford your service, you can tell them about the product of yours that's relevant to them. And these are like the three things you should be giving free value on. And then the T of the light is trust over time. So like I talk about marketing, like once you start giving those value, over time, people start trusting you to the point that if you talk about sales, they just convert almost immediately. You know, the pulmonologist I'm working with, the first time we had in contact, I gave him a website where he can actually get digital PR for his business. And I showed him how to do that for free. And he got that for free, came back to me and told me, if you even check Friend Digital, you see his reviews is there. He told me, he was thanking me for giving him that. And then he started asking, how much is your SEO service? You know, so trust over time is one of the ways to make your business one of those that will be found first. And this picture just depicts like someone, just imagine someone going for an interview and they're supposed to be there by 8 o'clock, but they're just there stuck. The bus hasn't arrived yet. The next interview they've got, they wouldn't think of using the bus. They would think of just going with the taxi, really. So trust over time, just being there for them, providing that value over time is definitely going to come back for you. And this is my last slide. So now, I'm taking so much time. So businesses people trust become businesses people actually recommend. So you have the service you know you want to give. You're not ready at the moment to start doing that business, but I think you can start looking at just mentally scanning like, who is this service going to be profitable to? And what free service can I start like advising this person on? You know, because once you say you want to sell that person, it becomes so much easy for you to do that. And that's basically my TED talk, really. So I don't know if anybody have any question at all. I'll send, yeah. So I pray that God helps us to bring us to where we all started and give us the grace and the strength to do the business that will glorify His name in Jesus' name. Amen.
Wow, thank you very much, Craig. Trust of me, because after service is here, you can see with me because of time. We need to run through. And sorry again with the whole slides earlier, but I'm amazed at how you kept your composure.
Yeah.
You really used to engage with people
Yeah.
in the time. This I thought it was just going to be about this, but this is like a master class on how to start your business today. Just have offering some value right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you'll be back again for part 2 sometime.
Yeah, sure.
And what I love so much about his speak was that
Yeah.
he said he would take reviews and he practiced what he preached immediately. Like I was starting the reviews immediately then. That I was starting doing that as well. Most times we put reviews at the end and then we leave the result at the middle. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. Thank you.